All right, let's get into it. So you guys have the wolf. Really interesting here. So this obviously is earth energy. This does equate to the Hierophant in the Tarot. We just had the wolf full moon in Cancer, right, for January. So we're just coming off of that energy as I film this, right? I got a little wolf on my hat here. So we got a mirror image here for you guys. Back to the twins of the Gemini. So, love that. The wolf energy is very much about, as it relates to the Hierophant, it's very much about trusting that everything is as it should be. Let's just all take a deep breath of I tell you, so much can be solved of anxieties that come about with everything is as it's meant to be. And it's okay, because even if things aren't going our way, right? If we know that everything is working within some sort of divine order, as it were, right? Nothing's askew, or we haven't made some terrible wrong turn somewhere and just kind of, just pushed ourselves out of our own highest and best path. And it's okay, I can categorize everything that's happening right now that is undesirable under the file of that's life. As opposed to something's terribly wrong. I'm on the wrong path now. I did right. So that's not what it is. I feel like there's going to be a lot of changes that are coming up for you this month. A little coffee break here. Definitely a lot of information, some adjustments coming through. But I feel like what the wolf energy is saying here is it's a call to ground yourself, remain grounded, and trust in your, I want to say instinctual core. Excuse me. Definitely a lot of communication. Your instinctual core. Through your instinctual core, you're going to be able to sort of experience a lot of the, high communication and truth and messages coming through for you this month, through a place of healthy perspective and emotional clarity. Again, back to that chalice with the wolf here. Okay. Filter everything through your instinctual core. And whatever you do to ground yourself, taking walks, exercising, being outside, whatever that is for you, you're definitely being called to do that. That is definitely going to be medicinal. Let's see what's going on for y'all this month. Okay. I'm going to need a little coffee break for that. My throat is dry. Okay, right. So we have swords here to start you guys off. 3 of swords. So let's talk about this energy. What's really interesting here is that we're talking about filtering information, realizations, messages, offers, news, all of that stuff through your emotional core and your instinctual foundation, right? And then we have the 3 of swords, which is an air energy, right? Which has to do with all of that, mental thought and communication, but it's also has to do with the heart, which is of the emotion. So this is heart pain, right? So it's interesting that we have that bridge forming. We're talking about those 2 things, right? Now, with the elephant here, this often is a result of something stemming from the past or something that is being asked for you to let go of. So it's either been around a while or it's something that is significant enough that it might affect you for some time to come. So that's what we're coming in with here. Remember, elephants have long memories, right? And they're I think they might be the only animal in the animal kingdom, but do correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you will, who actually mourn their dead. So I do feel like there's an aspect coming in here around, releasing something or mourning what has been or what is no longer, or a change that wants to happen. It could be really across a lot of different, possibilities, angles, all of that. But I feel like at the core of it, it's definitely something that affects, sadness around a truth, whether that's news or change or a realization that you have or whatever have you. But it feels like a sadness and a pain around a truth that is either, been around for a while or something that may affect you for time to come. Okay. See what else is going on. Brilliant. This has come up a lot in this round. So we have the Ace of Swords here. So more swords here. What's really brilliant is that the Ace of Swords is about that big truth, big clarity, big realization, written offers, contracts. But Panda Medicine linked with that says that the answers lie in the stillness. So again, we're being called to ground ourselves into the given moment and filter everything through an emotional core and our instincts, right? I I've said it a few times. It really feels like there's just going to be a lot of information, communication, a lot of the realm of that coming through for you this month. And I feel like it's coming from you and coming towards you. And I feel like this is a bit of a playbook on, you know, how best to work with that highly verbal, highly communicative energy that's coming through for you guys. Again, receiving your charge through the present moment is going to be a boon, because we have here the Three of Swords coming in and like kind of the past energy that's just on its way out when February begins, right? Into the Panda, the Ace of Swords, right? In the central position. So I'm really hearing that all of the truth and clarity and comfort that you can need is going to derive from the present moment, but also there's something about, so it feels like lingering on the past or not wanting to release the past is only going to resent or result in heartache or pain, right? And anxiety over the future, not really helpful either. We are human, but I'm hearing that you have the power to access a place of contentment from the present moment that you're in. That's where the Ace of Swords really comes to life. I'm hearing to take time on your own as you need it. I'm getting a big message around that, because that's Panda medicine too, right? Taking time on your own as you need it to either recharge or get a clear head or just tune out from everything that's going to be going on this month. Because there's a lot going on with the, you know, retrogrades and the whatnot, right? Which affects communication, right? So take the time out that you need and access your emotional core to kind of temper all of those energies, right? More swords. So we have the Nine of Swords here, which speaks of nightmares or sleepless nights, not sleeping well, being up till all hours, mind racing, can't go to sleep. So this is really interesting because, you know, this bird here represents, is this, I forget what this kind of bird is called. I want to say like a wackadoo, but that's not it. Basically makes a lot of noise and keeps people up at night. So I feel like there's an aspect here. Remember when we talked about, you know, staying too much in the past or giving any energy to the future is not going to be it for you guys, that it's about just being in the present moment. That's going to help you ride the wave of these extreme energies, the Mercury in retrograde, the Venus in retrograde, all of this information and truths that are going to be coming out. And then we have the Nine of Swords here, which speaks specifically to like so much mental tension that you can't get to sleep, or that when you do, it's your subconscious, you know, moving to the front of the line and really putting those nightmares on blast, and it just, right? I'm hearing that kind of the tonic around this Nine of Swords is the Ace of Swords, right? Because I'm feeling the dragonfly medicine around this too, which is Ace of Swords, which speaks to dream time, where you can work with this energy for the positive. We don't have to be a victim of any of this, right? We can just go, okay, Nine of Swords, how can I work with you? Well, if my subconscious is going to be really trying to communicate to me in my sleeping hours, right? And I have the anxiety that's going to be keeping me awake, how can I work with that? How can I set the scene for myself at night? How can I be my own advocate, right? To promote my own mental calmness, my inner peace, creating a really particular sanctuary for myself around my calm, quiet, you know, hours, moments, sleep time, right? So this can mean, you know, going to bed early. This could mean, you know, taking some, you know, steps around when and where you sleep that can kind of promote an inner peace. I do feel like some effort in that direction of promoting your own inner peace and calm and quiet and inner happy place is going to be incredibly helpful for you in February. And I'm hearing a lot of that is going to come with either just being on your own in your own energy, or interacting with stimuli that soothes you. So that could be music, podcasts, audiobooks, whatever that is, right? Three of Swords. So I normally pull from two different decks to get clarifiers, but I accidentally pulled from the same one, and I'm feeling like I just want to go with that. So to clarify the Three of Swords, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So what's really interesting is back to the wolf energy. We're talking about grounding ourselves, right? And then we have the Queen here, the pig, happy as a pig in shit, right? Because that pig is in the given moment. So why this is so brilliant is because the Queen of Pentacles is all about the more you're grateful for what you already have, the more you'll manifest to be grateful for. So we're talking about Not allowing the past to hook you, not allowing the future to give you anxiety or your time or energy or effort, right? But it's really about the present moment where you're going to find peace. Your peace is in the present moment for February. That's it. Any movement in either direction from a mental sphere or an emotional sphere, warning, warning. That's what I'm getting with this, okay? So it's about rooting, grounding yourself. Go outside, be still, have your back against a tree, meditate, journal, read, less stimuli or calming stimuli, laughter, all of those things. Anything to get you into that given moment. Here's the thing. Like attracts like, right? So a certain energy calls in more of the same. So sometimes it can be incredibly hard to even identify, not to mention focus on what is going well. It is in our human system. It's in our nature, right? To focus on what is not working, what is not going well. Because if something's going well, that's taking care of itself. It doesn't need me to worry about it. So I'm going to, focus on, I need more of that. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough, what's going on there? Why don't I have this? When's that going to move? Or whatever it is, right? So there's an aspect of that keeps you from manifesting, or that brings in more of, what is not working. So it's kind of like energy. What's that saying? Energy flows where your focus goes. I think I butchered that, but you get the point. So I'm really hearing that you can reroute and work with this energy, right? This is a minor arcana, which means that you can work with this to kind of circumvent it and make it work or allow it, I should say, to work in your favor, right? So any of this energy that you feel, it's about taking the responsibility and going, I'm going to observe myself, because it's an air sign. You can do this, right? I can observe the fact that I'm really focusing on future events or anxieties that I can do nothing about in the moment, or I'm really focusing on the past pain that is hurting me now, and it's unnecessary. So if you observe yourself in that, then you can reroute it, find pleasure in the given moment through whatever activities or people that help you just appreciate what is, because that is going to call in more of the same. Focus on what you had to be grateful for now, and in doing so, attract more of the same. This feels like a challenge of the mind for you guys this month. It does. It feels like a challenge of the mind, but one that you guys are up for. Okay? Ace of Swords. Right. Ten of Swords. Wow. So Ace of Swords clarified by the Ten of Swords. So Ten of Swords, it's really interesting that we have the end of this cycle and the beginning. So we have the Ace and the 10. This is new beginnings. This is ending. So it's really interesting that the endings are clarifying the new beginning, right? So what I'm getting from this is, number one, there feels like there wants to be this certain emphasis on releasing and acceptance of what you can't control, and whatever wants to die, let it die. Whatever wants to come to pass, let it pass, because it's all within the purpose, the bigger purpose of your highest and best good. But I do feel like things are being removed from your energy or from your given circumstances this month. They could definitely have to do with you and your mental palace, right? Your mind palace. What's going on in there? It feels like the mind palace is a bit... did you ever see that show, Hoarders? It's heartbreaking, really, but I feel like you guys' mind palace this month is in risk of debuting on Hoarders, Gemini, Mind Palace, Hoarder Edition. Like it really, and no shade, it really feels like I just want to, you guys can clear that out through this Ace of Swords activity. And I do feel like it's related to either habits or patterns or situations that have reached their expiration date. And it's not best before, it's like use by expiration date. Like it's getting a bit stinky. And you're being asked to just kind of like, whoop. Now look at the difference here. It's like kind of murky skies. It's darkness with a little glimmer of hope here. We got this poor dead pigeon in the foreground. And then we have this really happy panda just sitting there going, I'm free from any and everything that could possibly, bring me down, because I'm in the present moment, and in that I'm getting clarity, and the answers lying in the stillness. And I trust and believe that everything that wants to be removed from my atmosphere is for my highest and best good. This also may come from just a place of, mental exhaustion, where you go, I'm really tired of this analysis paralysis. I'm really tired of worrying about the worst case scenario. I'm really tired of overthinking things or questioning myself or or the way that I communicate not being received like I mean it to, right? And I feel like that's where the canary medicine is coming in as well. It's kind of like a sweet energy that wants to work with and for you this month to really help you out. So I'm hearing you can take that quite literally and even like, put a picture of a canary if this, comes up for you during the month. Have a picture of a canary on your phone that you can just look at as a source of meditation or kind of like have around you in some way. Because I feel like that animal medicine is really working closely with you this month, okay? Nine of Swords. It's kind of like a beautiful tonic. Canary energy is so, so sweet. It's so lovely. It really, really is. So we have 6 keys here. And 5 of them are swords. So we have the Page of Swords here. Remember I saw the Knight of Swords in your meditation. I mean, it's really like it's sword heavy. So we have the Page of Swords here. Now, what's really fascinating with this is that this is, depicted as the Roadrunner, right? And remember, see here how the page is kind of like left his sword, forgot his sword over there, so he's just going to run without, it's kind of like just running off ahead without all the communication or information that it needs. It's like the messenger forgetting the message. To clarify, the Nine of Swords, right? Be mindful of the mind, I kind of want to say mind tricks that we play on ourselves. Be mindful of what you're telling yourself. Be mindful of your environment when you're going to sleep. Be mindful of that inner dialogue that you have with yourself, because it feels like it's stemming from fear and haste and reaction as opposed to response, right? That's what it feels like. How you can work with this in a positive lens. Page of Swords can also be a source of really helpful information and insights. So I feel like how you can work with this as well is setting that intention. But I'm hearing selenite. I could recommend crystals all day, every day, but I rarely do unless I actually channel them in the reading. So I'm hearing selenite, Selenite, and howlite, Howlite, selenite and or howlite, to have either under your pillow or near your bed when you're sleeping is how you can work with this energy and say, before bed, I'm setting the intention for clarity around this issue that wants to keep me up at night. And then allow yourself to just kind of like meditate on that intention before going to sleep. And I feel like sound is going to help you a lot. So maybe you listen to a meditation, like a sleep meditation as you're going to sleep, could help you a lot, because sometimes it takes that, like another noise, to quiet out our own internal noise. There's something in that for y'all. I feel like it might be helpful to have an external noise that's positive and healthy to drown out the internal noise that is not beneficial for either your sleep time or your mental peace, okay? That's how you can work with this. And in doing so, get some very helpful insights in your dream time. This doesn't have to be nightmares. This can be dream time messages, and you can work with that in that way. Set that intention for clarity and then wake up with that clarity, because you also have Ace of Swords here as well, which is really brilliant. Let's go ahead and get an oracle for y'all. Let's do that. Oh, that flipped out so quick, and then look what it is. It's a sword. Can you even handle this? Excalibur, Sword of Truth. We were just talking about Ace of Swords. This is the sword reading. It's number 11. So this says power, action, truth. It's really, 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 really beautiful. But when I think about this, when I think about Excalibur with the power, action, truth, and it's the number 11 as well. All these little sparkles here coming up out of the lake. What's really interesting is that with this idea of communication and what is working for you and what is not working for you, I feel like there's a certain sense of a lot of this, mind palace, clutter that's going on. I feel like it's masking really helpful information for you. And it's interesting that it's coming up in this way, because I feel like this is a comment on the fact that the power of your mind, your ability to communicate new ideas, to see both sides of something, either that's two people having a disagreement or someone you're disagreeing with or someone that you want to work with or that you're trying to understand, right? Your superpower lies in your ability to see both sides at once and equally as well. So I feel like there's an aspect of this key or this oracle that is reminding you of the superpower within yourself. So if you feeling you are lacking in that superpower this month, it's just because there's too much clutter, and Spirit is giving you kind of a roadmap with which to clear that clutter so you have access to this. This is Gemini, this Excalibur, this sword of truth to help you through this time. I find it's also really interesting that we have the lake here as well, right? Which the sword came, the Lady of the Lake brought the sword like out of the water. And we're talking about connecting in with your emotional core amidst all of the communication and information. So it's the sword, it's the truth, it's the enlightenment, it's the clarity coming from the deep body of emotion. This is your superpower. You have access to this. It's just about coming from a place of intention around it and remembering this in the moments when you might forget it, right? Especially since we're in Mercury in retrograde, where communication is affected, and Venus in retrograde, where again, our relationships, our emotions, and communication are affected. But you have this superpower and it's always available to you. You just might need to take some time on your own and be very deliberate in accessing it and reminding yourself of this truth.